Hey, it's Adam Zdroik of RotoWire. I'm going to talk Sunday's showdown between Newcastle and Manchester United. Before we get into that, rotowire.com/soccer trial. It's a free 48-hour trial to check out everything, including this cheat sheet that I'm going to be using while going over everything. The cheat sheet has everything, and of course, you can also get all of these stats here. Look at all these leagues that we cover. This doesn't even have the NWSL just started. We cover that as well. And you can get that trial and then jump in our Discord, rotowire.com/chat. We'll be in there as well. So this isn't my favorite showdown to talk about this weekend. Newcastle showdowns are kind of difficult to talk about because it's usually the same. Certain players are going to be popular, but it's the second biggest contest of the weekend outside of Saturday's classic slate. So DraftKings kind of led me here. I was looking at other showdowns to talk about. I was looking to talk about the 2-game slate even on Sunday, but this showdown between Newcastle and Manchester United is just bigger than everything else. So that's why I'm here. That's why I'm talking about this one. We got Newcastle as a slight favorite. That one kind of surprised me. Newcastle now getting some love from the sports books. It's been happening for, I don't know, maybe the last month or two. Wasn't really the case the first half of the season. But we got Newcastle at 40% chance to win, Manchester United 31%, 1.5 implied total for Newcastle, 1.33 for Manchester United. And as you can see, there are some questionable tags here, but Pope's going to be fine. Varane's going to be fine. That's the assumption. Those guys are going to be fine. The big one is Rashford. I think that he's going to be fine as well. I mean, we can look to see what Ten Hag actually said about this earlier Friday. Rashford trained, and Ten Hag was just like, I have good hope that Rashford's going to play. It seems like he's going to be fine. I mean, this is Friday, and then this match is Sunday, so he's going to have almost 48 hours between that quote and this match. So it's assumed Rashford will be in there. More of note, Callum Wilson's getting closer to fitness over the international break. We'll see how Newcastle line up. As you can see in this projected 11, I plugged in Joelinton as the right winger in place of Miguel Almiron, who is out. We'll see how they line up. Jacob Murphy started there before the break, but of note, Joelinton was suspended the team's last 2 matches. So we could see Jacob Murphy in there again with Joelinton maybe playing in the midfield for Joe Willock or something like that. But we'll see. Joelinton is maybe their most versatile player. Played on the left wing a good portion of this season due to St. Maximin's injuries and that kind of thing. Also played in the midfield a little more recently. So we'll see how they lined up. It's assumed Isak will be starting again. And otherwise, there's not too many questions for Newcastle. Manchester United, of course, Casemiro suspended. Sabitzer picked up some kind of knee issue over the break. We'll see. He might start. It's going to be between Sabitzer and McTominay, I believe, to start next to Fred in the midfield without Casemiro. So those are the main things. Otherwise, I don't think there's really any other questions. I guess Delo or Aaron Wan-Bissaka starting at right back. Probably going to be Delo, but never know. So those are the questions, and we can get into it here. So I said I don't usually like talking about Newcastle showdowns because of Trippier. Trippier pretty much on every slate is the most popular captain, and for good reason. There's really no way to get around it. In addition to him having great upside as a fullback, he also has the best floor pretty much on every slate. He even probably has a better floor than Bruno Fernandes on this slate, and you just plug him in. You plug him in and kind of do whatever. It'd be a little different situation if Newcastle played in higher scoring matches, to where we had right before the break, we had Isak get a brace. He had 31 points, and Isak captain kind of took away from the Trippier captains in that one. But are we going to get a brace from Newcastle guys in this one? Is someone going to go off for Manchester United that isn't Bruno Fernandes? I highly doubt it. So Trippier, probably the most popular captain. Fernandes will be right there as well. and then people will just kind of build off of that because there isn't really a ton of great floors. You have a lot of mediocre floors, I guess you could say. And at least in cash games, you're not gonna, you don't have to spend on Isak or anything like that. You can pretty easily build a lineup. Let's just do it here. I'll just start with Trippier captain, plug in Fernandes, and then we'll just we'll go around and see what we can actually build. Luke Shaw hasn't really been that great for the most part, and in a tough matchup at Newcastle. This isn't the best spot, but 7,200 split roll set pieces. I think that's fine. If you want Joelinton, I guess the question will be between Shaw and Joelinton in that same range. Fred's in that range. Sabitzer's in that range as well. So you got a couple options there. Shaw just has the split roll set pieces. So I think that is an option there. In terms of Joelinton, if you look at a lot of his recent numbers, they're kind of bad. Of note, let's just click into his profile here. The last few times he's played has been in the midfield. As you can see here, his last 4 starts were in the midfield. Prior to that, always kind of on the left wing. So, if he starts on the right wing for El Marone, I just ignore, the last 4 matches that he's played in. And as you can see, when he was on a wing in a more attacking role, more shots, more chances created. As a midfielder, he took 3 shots and didn't create a chance in 4 starts. So I think that's pretty relevant. So you're going to want to know what position Joelinton is playing because that will kind of decide a lot. Well, not a lot, but it'll decide a few things at a minimum. If he's on the wing, you got to consider him for some lineups. If he's in the midfield, you just completely fade him. Otherwise, Antony is also in this range at low. So I plug Shaw in. It's just an intro lineup here for, let's just say it's cash games. Longstaff is 4,400. He's an okay play, and he's kind of, Wan-Bissaka is down here. Longstaff will allow you to get a couple more higher end guys here. Bruno Guimaraes at 7,400 is just, I don't think, worth it. You can see what he did against Nottingham Forest and maybe think he can do that again. He had 11-point floor, but, he drew 4 fouls. I'm not sure that's what you're going to be banking on again against Manchester United. Longstaff and Bruno Guimaraes aren't that much different. But you probably don't even have to go you don't even have to go down to Longstaff. If you plug in Joelinton, you could even plug Fred in this lineup as well. And then instead of Longstaff, you just get De Gea or something, and there you go. You got 300 left. It's really, at least in cash games, even in tournaments, it's not like you need Isak. Rashford's going to be a conversation as well. St. Maximin, 8,400. 45 minutes in that last match. I definitely played him against Nottingham Forest, and he kind of busted there a little bit. So hard to trust St. Maximin. But as I'm just building lineups out here, in terms of what I think is going to happen in this game, I think it's going to be an interesting matchup here. So we got Newcastle, who entered the international break kind of slow. They struggled a little bit. They weren't really, maybe the last couple months. There's a trend of Newcastle being awesome defensively, not allowing a goal, not losing matches, but they're struggling to score. And then it kind of turned around in the last month or 6 weeks or so that Newcastle are now, they're kind of giving up goals a little bit. And while they're scoring, they're not getting those clean sheets there for Nick Pope. So I do think having, Joelinton and Bruno Guimaraes back together, again, it will help, because if you remember, Guimaraes was also suspended about a month ago. So those guys haven't been in the lineup the same time that much in the last month. So I think that's going to help. Also coming out of the international break as well, I think that's going to be a little bit of a boost for the Newcastle guys, because they went down to, I want to say, Dubai to get a little warm weather training in, and a lot of their team didn't really go away for the international break. Outside of, I know Isak did, of course, he went with Sweden, but otherwise, a lot of these guys didn't travel. So I think that's relevant. I guess Sven Botman is coming back from a food poisoning. As for Manchester United, more of those guys traveled. Dalot, McTominay got a brace. I believe that was against Spain. Fernandes, all those guys. So as we're looking here, just in terms of this matchup, I guess I didn't finish that off. I was looking back at when these teams played in the Cup final at the end of February, and Manchester United won 2-0. But if you remember correctly, it's not like they dominated that match. It's not like, I mean, for the majority of that game, Newcastle were kind of on the front foot, and the only difference was that Manchester United finished their opportunities, whereas Newcastle, they just didn't finish them. Looking at the final stats, you got Newcastle 61% possession, Manchester United 39%. I know some of that is related to Manchester United scoring twice in the first half, and sure it is, but Newcastle in the first 30 minutes, they still had a decent amount of possession. Final numbers were 6 corners for both teams, 15 shots for Newcastle, 14 for Manchester United. So now you throw this at Newcastle, and I think Newcastle are in a better situation in general, and I like the odds here. I believe in the odds that they are actually correct, which isn't always the case here. Isak has the best odds to score at -105. I think this will be I think we could be in a 1-0, 2-1 win kind of range or 1-1 range there, leaning towards the Newcastle side. You throw out Casemiro from the lineup, you got McTominay and Fred in the midfield. I think that definitely, of course, it's a downgrade. I know they were fine without Casemiro about a month or so ago, but a little different spot here, I'd say. And it's not like I was looking through Manchester United away from home lately, and it just, at least in league play here. So their last away match in league play was the 7-0 thrashing at Liverpool. They beat Leeds 2-0, but didn't really outplay them in that one. Lost at Arsenal 1-1 against Crystal Palace, where that was, I believe, the Michael Olise free kick at the end of the game. Again, they didn't really dominate that match. Before that, 1-0 at Wolverhampton. I'm just going through the results. It's not like Manchester United are dominating these matches. So I think this one's going to be a pretty even game. More possession for Newcastle, which is going to lead to a better floor for Trippier. So as we get back into the Trippier talk, I don't think there's going to be a ton of opportunities for either side. Similar to that last game, maybe neither team surpasses 15 shots kind of a thing. So let's get into tournaments here. You could fade. You could fade Trippier. You could fade Fernandes and try and find a goal somewhere else. Hopefully that you get a goal and then it's from someone who has an 8-point floor and they're at 20 points, because a lot of times if you get a goal in these Newcastle matches, you got to hope that it's not assisted by Trippier, and you got to hope the guy that scores surpasses 15 points, because Trippier's floor is 10 to 15 points, and if you throw an assist onto that, he's already at 20, and the majority of people are going to have Trippier captain. So you got to find someone that is going to surpass Trippier, or at a minimum make your lineup a little better. But I don't think this is a matchup where, like, if you captain De Gea, or if you captain even anyone that's cheaper, like, what is the benefit that you're going to get? Okay, if you captain De Gea, you're going with another 2-0, 1-0 win for Manchester United. So let's build that out. We're going to have De Gea. We're going to have Bruno. We're going to have Trippier. We're going to have Rashford. It's pretty simple here. We can throw Shaw in just for the split set pieces. And then, I just built this lineup out for everyone for tournaments. If you think Manchester United are going to win with a clean sheet, which I think is in the realm here of possibilities. So we got De Gea captain. You got Rashford, you got Bruno, you got Shaw, you got the set pieces, you got the goal scorers. Again, you can throw in Antony if you want. You can throw in Weghorst. Weghorst is still Weghorst. I'll say that. What is he? 4,600. So he can go in any lineup if you want. That's what you want to do. And then Fred or McTominay. I would keep an eye on if Sabitzer doesn't start. I'd watch to see if he's on the bench, because that's going to maybe lead me to think that maybe Fred or McTominay won't start. As I'm looking here, No, that's leading me to think that maybe Fred or McTominay won't go full 90, but if Sabitzer isn't on the bench, those guys could be in range both for a full 90. I think if both start, I think Fred, no matter what, seems like the more likely option to go a full 90. Whereas Sabitzer has his knee issue. McTominay hasn't seen a ton of time this season. But I did mention the De Gea captain. But if Sabitzer is not in the squad, we can actually get minimum pricing captain with McTominay. He's 4,500. That's going to take you away. That's going to just, you're probably not going to go ahead to Gea in this route. You're going to want goals. You're going to want a random McTominay goal. Let's say you also want an Isak goal. We basically get, so we can captain McTominay. We can get Isak goals. We can get Trippier assists. We can get Bruno goal assist. We can get Rashford goal. And then you got about 7K there. So you can go with Fred. You can go with Joelinton, Anthony, whoever. So there's that range. There's really, because there are so many cheap guys that are fine, like McTominay, like whoever, you even got a cheap De Gea. It's pretty easy to make a lineup for this one. I've given you a couple here. I guess I'll leave with the Nick Pope captain, but I don't want to do Nick Pope captain. They're just too popular at this point. Even though he's been allowing goals, he's still coming around. He's still been able to, get in the positive for the most part. But I mean, a Pope captain isn't too much different than a De Gea one. You're probably just going to fade Rashford in this situation. Maybe go Isak, Bruno, Trippier. And then, you could even throw De Gea in there. Maybe hope for a scoreless draw. Get a few saves from him. Delo, Jacob Murphy if he starts. So pretty easy slate. There's not a ton to say on this one. You know who these guys are. I think everyone's kind of in range. You have, as I just running through everyone, I feel like everyone's in, even like the Shar is in range, maybe not Botman, Burn. I don't know if you want to go that far down. Bruno, I'm probably going to be fading Bruno. I'm just not sure he's worth the price. Willock, Longstaff, a little cheaper. And it seems like both those guys have the same kind of upside as Bruno Guimaraes. Also keep a note on who's on the bench as well for these teams. St. Maximin, also an option, but again, as I said, 45 minutes last game. Kind of tricky, kind of iffy to play him there. Otherwise, yeah. I think that's all I got here for this Newcastle Manchester United showdown. Good luck on this one, and I'll be back for, I believe, there is a Monday Everton Tottenham showdown on Monday. You can find me at Zdroik. Go to the Discord, rotowire.com/chat, and then RotoWire Soccer on Twitter. Make sure to check that out. But like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got a couple more months left of the season. We'll be having, as usual, plenty of DFS content, plenty of betting content. Thanks for watching, and good luck on this one. I'll end with, what's my favorite captain going to be? Because, I said that Trippier is the obvious route. I might do that De Gea lineup, depending on what things look like. Obviously, Rashford in and out of the starting 11. We'll see what that looks like. If Rashford's out, I will not be on the Manchester United side. So I'll probably put together a De Gea captain. Maybe I'll go, if Joelinton's on the wing there and the right side for Almiron, maybe I'll go Joelinton captain. And hopefully he does a little something. Maybe he makes a score sheet. Trippier does it, kind of a thing. You can kind of go with that. Maybe I'll build something around that with a Pope. I don't know if I want Pope. It's for you to guys decide. 20 minutes in. Good luck on this one.